We have Nicole Vinson here from the Kellogg Company. We're going to talk about some fun questions around marketing leadership, the challenges that you're excited about tackling, the trends that you're seeing in the industry, some sort of fun buzzword bingo. It's going to be a great conversation, and we're thrilled to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really excited to be here.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about cultural relevance for a second. It's a topic that comes up a lot in industry conversations. It's kind of one of these terms that you think you know what it means, but everybody seems to have their own unique definition of what cultural relevance really means. So I'd love to get your take on the term and how does it play into your work for Kellogg's?
Yeah, absolutely. Cultural relevance is super important today, right? We need to really understand our consumers and shoppers, who they are as individuals, where they come from. And it's not just about social listening, right? And being sort of culture adjacent, but it's about really being part of the conversation and being, really embedded into culture or making culture, with our brands. And so there's a lot of work that we do today, with our culture team. We do a lot of things with licensing. We just launched a Puma Tony the Tiger shoe for Year of the Tiger, which is really exciting. But it's also about really continuing to understand our consumers and what's important to them, and then really figuring out what are the insights that we can glean, and then how do we make content at the speed of culture? I think, gone are the days of it takes 18 months to kind of go from a creative brief to activation. And so a lot of the things that we're really experimenting with today is how can we better listen, uncover those insights, and then brief our teams to create content that can be meaningful, engaging, and that can be part of the conversation in an authentic way. And really understanding what the role of each of our brands play in different parts of culture, right? So I think it's an interesting time, and nobody's kind of quite completely figured it out yet. But even just thinking through the different mediums and platforms that we have today available to us and the way that we create content, it's about great partnerships, and then really kind of thinking about even our brand advocates as creators and ambassadors of our brands as well.
Absolutely. I love that. And to your point, there are so many different platforms out there, each with their own audience, each with their own nuances, the types of content that resonate, and cultural moments that affect those people on those platforms. So I'm sure it's a challenge. And if you want to be part of those conversations, to your point, you have to move so fast because otherwise you miss your chance. So I know we're talking about challenges later, but that's certainly one to think about. It's a definite one. Absolutely. So let's keep it going. One of the other things we talk about with leadership in the community is talent, right? And especially these days, to our point a moment ago, there are so many new technologies, new platforms, new specialties, new areas of expertise that marketers need to account for within their organization. Do you have any specific strategy or approach to making sure you're bringing in the right people to build that world-class organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's many different programs that we have with different universities and colleges. We recently, within the organization in the U.S., we're part of the Ad Fellows program. So it's where we bring in diverse candidates through that organization. They go through an 8-month rotation across 3 to 4 organizations and different functions of marketing and commercial. So that's another way that we can kind of bring in entry-level employees into the organization to really get a flavor of kind of what we do and how we do it. We also have massive goals around ESG and ED&I. And we've won a lot of diversity awards and things like that. But I think as it pertains to sort of the teams that I'm hiring and I'm advising my regions and how they're hiring different talent, we really, especially in CPG, we have to start thinking about talent being more diverse than people that come from CPG or that look like us, right? And we really need to be tapping into other technologists and people that come from other industries or categories or verticals, because they're going to bring a very different view from their outside-in experience that they can infuse into our culture, which is really important. And then I think the other piece, it's not just about attracting new talent, but it's about how do we really continue to give our current talent the skills and the tools and the resources that they need to be successful in their job today, but also in the job as we continue to transform over the next 3 to 5 years, et cetera, right? So we invest a lot of money in continuing to upskill our internal teams around different capability areas. Our team specifically, we also run a global marketing leadership forum every quarter, which is like around 2 to 3 hours, where we bring in a lot of outside in industry thought leaders, technology partners, to really challenge convention, right? And challenge sort of what we're doing today. And then how could you apply some of these new innovations or new ways of thinking into the seat that you're sitting in today? And I think the one thing that I continue to drive as I mentor other talent within our organization and external as well, is that you are in control of your destiny, right? And gone are the days that you rely on your partners to sort of tell you what you need to be doing, or the partners that you should be investing behind, right? You have to be an active participant in your career path. And if you're not curious and you're not constantly carving out the time to learn and continue to grow as a marketer, you will be left behind. And so that is a choice that everybody has to make in their career and their destiny. So be curious at the end of the day.
I love that. I think curiosity has been the number one word when I ask this question that comes up. Is we want people who are curious, and that can't be trained, that can't be taught, right? And if you're curious and you're always learning, then you have that opportunity to develop and grow, and to your point, upskill and learn new things and make yourself and make sure that you're relevant to whatever's happening in the industry. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
So let's go the other direction and then talk about managing up for a second.
Yeah.
This has also been, again, a resurgent conversation perhaps over the last few years. First, when it came to marketing through the pandemic. Now we're talking about marketing through potential economic uncertainties, and having those conversations, not just with the CMO, but with the CEO, with the board, people who are leading these companies, but don't necessarily speak the language that we speak every day. And we have to make the case as an industry to show the power of the work that we're leading. Marketing is a profit driver, not a cost center. Those conversations become much more important when we're talking about the world that we live in today. So I'd love to know if you have any thoughts or advice on how you have those conversations and how you go about sharing the work that you're doing and the importance of it when talking to the CEO, when talking to the board.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been kind of using this framework recently, which is you have to move people from being who are unaware of sort of what's going on to being aware of the challenges or the opportunities that present themselves to advance our capability to drive top tier performance and growth, to then making them a believer, right? And then that last phase of that kind of maturity curve, if you will, is about getting people to action. And so I think as I think about managing up, you really have to start with a simple kind of story, right? It's all about storytelling. And so how do you present information back to senior leaders? What motivates them? Is it the financial side? Is it, is it the value side? Like whatever it might be. And really unpacking that and figuring out different strategies for how you talk to this person or this group of people. Some of the things that have been really successful in my career is, bringing in outside thought leaders to these groups to be able to help them kind of talk about what's happening in the industry, what's happening with their clients, bringing in examples, right, of other organizations in the same categories that we play in, so that you can bring that believability factor, right? And then I think it's also about building community, with kind of the other reports of those senior leaders, because if you can get them on board with your message and what you're trying to drive, then they become those advocates, right? And then it makes it a lot easier when you're bringing a business case back up to say, okay, I've got all these people aligned that this is the right approach, the right strategy. We've figured out how we're going to do it. Now we just need your green light to go off and make it happen, right? So I think you've got to bring people along for the journey, because when they're not there, they feel like they're being left out, or that their voice wasn't heard. So I think it's a big collaboration exercise, and it might not go as fast as you want it to, but I think in the end, you will kind of prevail, but you've got to keep trying if you're hitting walls here and there.
Absolutely. You have the right story and then the right people to help you tell that story, right? The unified front.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, so now we're going to go into the lightning round. And so I'm going to give you four prompts, 4 questions. We're going to talk about a challenge, an opportunity, or a trend, and then your thoughts on 2 of the biggest buzzwords of the day in AI and the metaverse.
Sure.
All right, so let's start with the opportunity. Is there a trend that you're really excited about? It's January of 2023. There's a lot of trends people are talking about. Is there one, or maybe more than one, that are specifically top of mind for you as you're thinking about your work for the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now I guess there's kind of like two trends, right? Which connected TV streaming and the shift away from linear is a big one, and sort of the fragmentation that we have in the media space in our ability to deliver that in a connected way that is cost effective. I think the other piece is around retail media, especially for CPG, because this is kind of the closed loop side that we've sort of never had previously, right? And so I think a lot of manufacturers today are really trying to better understand the value that retail media can bring with the data sets that we have, but also driving kind of the incrementality of that investment and the value of the data and the reach that it can bring for us. And is it going to drive the outcomes that we're looking for, right? And so as I think about kind of the opportunities for the industry, this is a big area that I think we have to continue to sort of hold hands on, because right now, these are our customers. They put our products on shelves every single day. But we have to evaluate our investments in every part of our business, and we have to sort of treat these the same way we would treat, a media investment with Meta, for example, or Google. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there to continue to flesh out sort of what's happening in that space.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. It's another topic, or the retail media world has come up a number of times, and just in terms of, right, that opportunity, the data, and the ability to kind of work with those retail partners. And it does seem like every major retailer has their own network at this point. So lots of fun opportunity there. So let's go to the flip side, because I know we're time is of the essence. Challenges. Are there any challenges that you're thinking about tackling for yourself this year, or just for our industry in general, that we should be thinking about addressing?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to continue to be on the brand safety side of things, right? There's so much happening today. Data privacy is continuing to evolve. Transparency, especially with the algorithms. And so I think as an industry, I sit on the Global Alliance for Responsible Media. I'm a member of that group. And so it's really important that we continue to sort of focus in on the brand safety opportunities that we have, and working with our partners to continue to drive that agenda. And I think as we start to unlock more of this data to drive more personalized experiences, it's going to be so important that we're putting in a strong foundation that is very ethical and transparent in the way that we communicate with our audiences.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to the buzzwords now. The metaverse. You can't go 2 seconds here at CES without hearing about the metaverse. Yep. We've seen a lot of really interesting experimentation in the metaverse over the last year, and with other Web3 facets, right? What's your take on the metaverse as it applies to our industry, what those potential applications are, maybe where we are in that journey?
Yeah, I think we're still very early on in this journey, right? There's a lot of great opportunity, and I think every brand is really trying to figure out what is their authentic opportunity in the metaverse. I think for organizations like Kellogg, where we're consumer packaged goods. So it's like, how do we create relevance and authentic experiences in the metaverse that make sense, that don't feel forced, right? And so we're constantly experimenting in this space. We've got a Fruit Loops world in Roblox, for example. But I think that there's a lot of opportunities with partnerships through lifestyle, entertainment, and even with our brands and characters that we have at Kellogg. So I think the jury's sort of still out on like how fast this world is going to mature and the opportunities that it will present. But I think as long as brands are really leaning in and they're experimenting early, then they're kind of starting to get a leg up on others who will be more late adopters.
Absolutely. All right. Same question, but for AI, right? Again, another topic, maybe not as new, but has seen a resurgent moment in our conversations with things like DALL-E and ChatGPT and their applications for our world and our industry. Where do you see those technologies coming into play?
Yeah, AI and machine learning are going to be mission critical. We just talked about this on our panel earlier today, but we have to build more content at scale. We need it to be effective. We need it to be personalized. We also have more channels that we're playing in than ever before. before, right? And so we also need to drive more automation, and we need to get to more predictive and prescriptive outcomes of all of our investments that we're having in this space. And so AI and machine learning is really going to allow us to better understand and predict what's going to happen, right? And so I think we can drive the automation of a lot of these elements, and we can take the subjectivity out of the decisions that we need to be making. So I see that as being a really big opportunity for brands going forward.
Sure. I love it. I'm excited to see, right, some of these things come into play when these technologies become more widely accessible. But that's fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us, Nicole. We're thrilled to have you here and sharing with me and with our community.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
All right. Wonderful.
Thank you.